I got my start in like 2006, 2007 with MTV as an intern, and I got to be a part of all that crazy casting for like The Hills and Laguna Beach and The Osborne Show. I was an intern and the turned executive assistant. I was still there, like on the front lines with like the showrunners.
Yeah, I was working I do not remember the years, but early 2000s in talk shows because I was always really interested in like how can we use media as a platform for like mental health outreach, or entertaining education, right?
Yeah,
Obviously since then it's just kind of gone downhill as far as like how serious how seriously you could take talk shows and how much more dramatic it really is all about.
for sure. I think that like between the talk show world and the like reality TV world, there's kind of been like a switch of flux when it comes to like mental health. With your experience and my experience, we kind of have covered different genres of reality.
Mhm.
Uh, but my experience is getting older, especially with competition reality, is having mental health advocates on set for the talent, which is
Yeah.
really them, especially when it comes to competition reality. When they get eliminated from a show or something like that.
And that's where they'll usually bring me in now. So more on the competition reality shows, hidden camera, lifestyle, medical shows as well. I mean, things that are a little bit more like kind of gray area or risky,
Yeah,
for
and it
the
would be
mental
nice to
well-being of
see
the contestants or participants.
for sure. Yeah, because it's all like legal parameters at the end of the day. But now that that's a staple for on-camera talent, it should be production wide.
Right. And that's what I've been working on like training people, being part of, a safety team. And so there's still more work to be done. I mean,
Yeah,
at least it's there for the cast, but it's like, dude, what about your crew? You
yeah,
know?
for sure. Producers, like these people don't rest. They're working all day, every day, especially the higher up you go. It's
Yeah.
like never eases out. So, to have like, a couple hours to either like mentally just unload on someone that has nothing to do with anything because you live and work with the same people all the time. So talking to one of your coworkers is like you not useless, it's just like not the same thing.
Yeah.
And especially if you're on location for shows like Survivor or Love Island or any show that like shoots on location, you're being sent to these places sometimes for like 3 months,
Yeah.
and you're in like third world country, you're stuck on an island, and some people can handle it better than others, but especially in a hard time where this is your only job option, like you don't want to say no to something like that knowing that like, oh, my mental health is at stake.
Right. Or I don't want to be away from my support systems or family or even therapist. At this point, especially we're taking the jobs that we could get. There's still more things that we can do to support crew.
Sure, we just like we come a long way from
Yeah.
when I in 2006 to now, but we have a long way to go still, I think.
Same. So we'll be talking all about some of our reflections and experiences, either personal or what we've heard from people that we work with, and all confidential, of course. And then talking about like really practical things that productions can do to ensure, the safety and well-being of their crew, reduce risks and liabilities. Let's talk about prevention. And then if there is some kind of incident, practical crisis response kind of stuff.
For
Uh,
sure. And that's because we do have those protocols for physical, like physically getting hurt or physically this and physically that. We're talking, I want, more mental health awareness than physical because we do have medics on set. We have all that stuff. And back in the day, probably didn't have any of it, but like now it's pretty standard that like you're not going to get hurt if you get hurt doing this. There's a whole protocols and step.
yeah,
But if you were to have like a mental breakdown, there's no one to help you with that.
exactly. So we're going to dive into that even more. Make sure to vote for us and for our fireside chat.